you have a version of Fat Randy right at the beginning of your podcast, but it's been like re-recorded. I guess the vocals have been re-recorded.
Yeah, the vocals were re-recorded with me.
Yeah.
We shot it at the studio at their I think it's Eddie's studio from Voodoo Glow Skulls, lead guitarist.
Yeah.
I don't know if they recorded the whole song, but I know that the vocals I threw in there.
Yeah.
I went one day and I just started shooting them out. What's up, fool? To replace Fat Randy. Sure, that Fat Randy was an actual guy. He got mad at that song.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He went to school with them.
But you know.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, man. You got to know what's up.
I think he was like a Polish guy, and the only thing I know about the story of Fat Randy is that the line Fat Randy shit on my couch. I think that line was taken from a real story that happened to one of the horn players.
Oh, wow. He's big, fat, ugly, and mean.
Is there a reason why you chose Fat Randy for the song to re-record? Is that like a particularly favorite song of yours?
Oh, cause that's the one we liked. We heard it. That's the one I liked. When I first met my co-host, Rodrigo Torres, I never heard of Voodoo Glow Skulls, so I met him because he was wearing all the merch. Mm-hmm. He had every shirt from every concert that they ever made.
Yeah.
He used to work at the record store with George, and when they had a record store in Riverside. So we got to hang out with a band. We saw him live like 4 times at the Troubadour and over there at some club in Pomona and Riverside. We saw him. Then we went to a big concert and we saw him again, and we ended up being friends with him.
Nice.
And we still always go hang out with Jerry. Would always hang out with us at the shows because he was like a big fan. Their original drummer, Jerry
O'Neill. Yeah,
crazy guy. You know, his girlfriend broke his finger one time, so he won't go on tour.
I don't know this story. Do you know this story, Adam?
No.
Yeah, man. He broke his his finger was broken. He couldn't go on tour. And I think his lady, she broke his finger. But that motherfucker played with one hand like a G.
When Voodoo was between singers, did you think about auditioning as vocalist, Felipe?
Oh man, you know what? The thought never came to my mind, but maybe I should have. But it'll be hard. I don't know all the songs. Unless I need somebody for chorus.
maybe you could still audition and be like second singer.
Yeah. One time we were hanging out at the Glendale Galleria, and we ran into Tim from Rancid. I think that's his name, right? Timothy from Rancid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "What's up?" And he was like, he told me, "What's up?" And he said he knew my comedy. And I remember I said that this guy right here, man, he hangs out with Voodoo Glow Skulls. That's his crew. And I didn't know that they had beef at that time. I'm over here instigating stuff.
This is Rodrigo?
Yeah, Rodrigo. And he later on, he goes, "How come he looked at us weird?" Oh, man, those guys had beef with Voodoo for a while, but not anymore. You just threw him off with that.
So yeah, I actually talked to Eddie 2 days ago to kind of prepare for the interview, and he told me that Rodrigo was like really like he worked for Cheap Guy Records for like 5 years, and he worked with the band quite a bit. He grew up with the band, and then I guess he moved to LA to do comedy, and that's when you and Rodrigo met each other, like kind of in the open mic scene.
Yeah.
You guys were still just kind of like entry level or small, kind of at the small level at that point, right?
Yes, I had. I was from our friends. I was the only one that had a TV credit at the time, and I was the one that I was like locally known in everywhere, like San Jose and any town with a SAN in the beginning of it, I was known. Like if your name started with a Saint, you probably heard of my stand up back then. San Jose, San Luis Obispo, Santa Cruz.
What was your early TV credit that you had at the time?
Oh man, in '96, I was lucky enough to do a show called Latino Laugh Festival.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was hosted by Paul Rodriguez, and I met all the greats later on at that show, like Greg Giraldo, a young Greg Giraldo. I met him at that show. And there's a lot of comedians that are not around who are like fell off, but they are like John Mendoza. He was probably the big comic then. Well, nobody really recognized him, and I was wondering why. But he was more like a crossover. He had a sitcom too, but it bombed. It made like 5 episodes, and they got rid of it. And he was half Irish and half Mexican or Puerto Rican. But this guy was deadpan, bro, like Steven Wright, Mitch Hedberg style. Like he'll have a joke like he goes he goes, you ever seen two ugly people together? And he goes, my friend's ugly. He goes, my friend's ugly. He goes, ugly people never know they're ugly. My friend's ugly. He goes, he saw an ugly girl. He goes, oh, look at that pig. He goes, you should go talk to her and say hello. Just don't have babies. He had a joke about women. Women use so many contraceptives, and it always surprises me. You know, one time I was with a woman, and she had the vaginal foam. But by the time I realized it, I looked like a mad dog. But yeah, man, that guy had a sitcom at one time in the late '80s, early '90s, and he was there. But I was like a big comedy nerd, so I recognized everyone.
Yeah.
That was my first big break. And man, that show I got to do it 3 more times, and then they were all recorded for Showtime. The producer of the whole thing was Jeff Valdez. Jeff Valdez later on made a deal with a company owned by CBS, and he got our show to be on CBS Channel 2 over here in Los Angeles, to air at 3 in the morning, bro. So when that deal went through, a lot of comics found out about it. We hit up SAG-AFTRA, and we got paid, man. We got paid for those shows that were on CBS. So it was a good deal back then, '96. Because here we are, 2000 in the year 2000, and we got paid 4 years later for it again. I think we made more. I made more money the second time it aired than the first time.
Oh yeah, those were the pre-streaming days. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was on Showtime, and they were paying basic Astra pay was $800
Hmm.
for back then, and it's still $800 by the way. It hasn't changed.
Not with inflation or anything? Dang.
No, that's it. Not even. I think it's still the same, bro, or it might have dropped. Because I remember I meet old actors, and they tell me, "No, bro, to be a guest star on a show, you used to pay 7 grand." And I said, "Damn, I didn't get none of that. Not even half to say hello."
I remember I read an article a little while ago that said that because of syndication that people that were small actors in Friends or something like that, like are millionaires because of syndication pay and stuff like that, which is just crazy.
Yeah, man. Now, when you do a deal now, and I only know this because I've gotten, I got it to the point where you're gonna get a deal, but then they say no when they read the script. They say no to the pilot. But now, before you would sign up to do a sitcom, and that's it. Like Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David, they just signed on for a sitcom, and so did George and Elaine. They just signed on to do a sitcom. That was back then. But after they got their deal, after Seinfeld ended for syndication, they changed everything. And now, when you do your sitcom contract, they throw in the syndication contract right afterwards. Like, not even if it doesn't go to 100, because they want to make sure they don't overpay you like they did those guys.
Yeah, those guys made tons of money from that. Yeah.
Tons, right? Imagine, bro, like you're on one show, and that's like there's no other job like that. Like if you were a plumber and that stake is still working, they ain't staying you no money.
No. So Rodrigo, you guys became tight obviously because he is your co-host, and he's also your opener too. Like he'll go on tour with you.
Yes, opener, merch, and he pretty much knows everything about that scene. The punk rock scene. He's been to a lot of shows.
Do you remember when he brought up Voodoo Glow Skulls first time? or what your like initial impression of it was?
I think when I